Hello everybody and welcome to day 2 and the final matchup here in Latisana of these women's under-19 World Floorball Championships. You join us for this final matchup in Group C between Canada and Germany. We join live from the river town of Latisana in Italy's Friuli Venezia Giulia region, where of course the history of Venice and the Venetian army meets the Adriatic coast here. And I have to say, it's a bit sweltering hot in the venue, very humid, so it will be a tough atmosphere for these players. Here's the current standings in Group C, the other game happening in Lignano Sabbiadoro as we speak, around the same time. Italy playing Japan, but here we're focused on the Canadians against the Germans. Germany had a thrilling 4-4 first round game yesterday against Japan. That one going back and forth. Either side could have won it. In the end, it finished all square at 4 goals apiece. The Canadians suffering a big day 1 loss to host Italy in front of lots of home spectators. But I have to say, there was a good number of Canadian travelling fans there in Lignano Sabbiadoro. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes out here in Latisana for the Canadian fans as well. Big group down on the right-hand side of Germans who have come to support their national team here at these women's Under-19 World Floorball Championships. Pleasure to be calling this one for you today. Myself, James Varechka on lead, and alongside me, expert commentator, expert junior coach, and former high-level player himself, Mr. Tero Kauster. Good evening, Tero.
Good evening, James. Great to be here with you.
Look forward to hearing your input throughout the game. Here come the Germans, led out by their captain Svenja Klingner, dressed in the white and gold. They're looking to improve, as we mentioned, from their day 1 draw with a victory here. And now the Canadians, led out by their captain Mary Claire Smiley, dressed in the red with the black. First time we saw this outfit was at the World Games when Canada participated last year, their senior women's team, which already a couple of the players on this squad part of that senior women's team. Before we can begin, it's time for the national anthems.
And now, please remain standing for the Canadian national anthem.
rousing rendition of the national anthems for both sides. Our captains will meet in the center of the field to exchange pleasantries and mementos as well from today's contest. Short word from our referees just about the processes of the game. It's Mr. Daniel Hultberg and Edo Sabanovic who are some of the best referees in world floorball. They took the Women's World Championship final last year in Ostrava. Had the pleasure of refereeing that gold game, as we saw for the first time in 20 years, Tero. No Sweden team in the women's final.
Yeah, and that's a rare treat, so the Swedish referee pair was able to officiate a final.
Here are your starting lineups, full team lineups, I should say. This time with the Germans. I've got to say there were three missing players, and head coach Kevin Bucherman missing from their first match yesterday against Japan. They are all back, including Michelle Siedenberg on that first line, number 91, player to watch for sure for the Germans. Tero, from Team Canada, slightly smaller squad than Team Germany, but who do you have your eye on?
Well, you were talking about some players already presenting themselves at the World Games, and Emily Blomqvist being one of them. She is the player to watch out for from the Canadian squad, definitely. She left a mark.
And of course it looks to be another busy evening in goal for young Amy Field, who has now gone from a rookie to now one of the most senior members in this squad. Just 2 years ago in Lahti, she played her first international competitions for Canada at the under-19 level, and now not only playing in that Lahti tournament, but also playing in the World Games last year, and now here for her second under-19 WFC. Starting five for the Germans, getting the starting in goal yet again after yesterday's performance, Pia Landherr, who had a couple of great saves against the Japanese. Back on the bench this time, Linnea Koneka, who wasn't in the full squad list yesterday, was away, we believe, with the illness to some of the players in the squad and head coach Kevin Bucherman. So either that or they were still traveling, unsure, 100%.
Yeah, from some other teams I know they still had some exams. For instance, 7 players from the Norwegian squad arrived only just before the game, and one of the Polish for today because of taking some exams. So that might be the reason here as well.
So Landherr in goal for the Germans with Koneka on the bench. No backup for Amy Field. It'll be her alone out there, no goalie substitute, so we wish her the best in her health, so there's no issues with that, as otherwise, of course, Canada would be forced to play an outfield player in goal, which they are allowed to do according to the rules, Tero. If a starting goalkeeper and there's no backup goalkeeper on the bench, you're allowed to put an outfield player in.
Correct. If I remember correctly, it's a very small, tight window. I think even 3 minutes that they have time to undress the injured goalie and then dress up as the goalie, or put on the goalie gear. So I think 3 minutes might be 5, but fairly short time to get prepared for heading into the goal.
So we're almost ready to get underway. Daniel Hultberg, Edo Sabanovic ready with their whistles. And we're underway in Latisana. It's the Germans who win the opening face-off of the game. Germany playing in white with the gold accents from right to left on your screens. Canada in the red and the black, playing from left to right, and already an early chance for the Germans as they set up shop behind the Canadian goal. Siedenberg across one time, and that's the first save of the game for Amy Field. Strong right arm and hand to push the ball away from danger. Back across, and that's another dangerous position. This time, Captain Klingner looked to try and go 5-hole. Field was up to the task.
Germany already on the change after 49 seconds, so a very quick change for the first line.
And for those of you new to the sport of floorball, maybe some family members watching, those of you who are just getting into floorball maybe, similar to ice hockey with the formations, with the number of players on the side, on the field I should say, at one time. 5 outfield players and 1 goalie. Rolling substitutions, of course, and 3 times 20 minutes, all similar to ice hockey.
Now Canada on the change, and quite wisely German apply pressure because they know that there's tired players from Canada on the field, preventing them to make that change.
Britt Dorney was able to win the ball back for a brief moment for the Canadians before it goes back for the Germans. Rauchlow eventually ending up in possession.
There's a rhythmic banging of the drums from the German supporters here. It's quite a good section full of the German fans here.
That shot quite central, not too challenging for field. Canadians happy to sit deep at the moment and not apply too much pressure on the Germans with the ball. They'll pounce on any loose balls, just like on that occasion.
Claire Smiley, it's a tumble. Let's see the physicality. Yesterday the Canadian team of course got a taste of it against the Italians, but I think Germans might take it up a notch. So probably not that familiar to the physicality that the European teams are used to. Because all of these players, apart from Emily Lundqvist, play in Canada.
So it looks to be similar for the Germans tactical-wise as yesterday against the Japanese, where they did so well to sit deep and counter-attack with speed. Germans with a little bit extra firepower today, however, with those 3 players, 2 outfield players coming back into the squad for them, including Siedenberg, who is a supreme talent and already part of the senior women's team, and that's a good chance for Michelle Siedenberg. Her first shot of the game, however, that one high and wide.
I remember Siedenberg well from Lahti 24. She was really good already then, and that's 2 years ago.
Here's the quick break for the Germans. Pass for Siedenberg. Found in the center.
Tropschuk was completely free in front of the goal.
And it's Canada with the ball before it's poked out of play by Captain Klinger. Free hit on the halfway line. Rink board's just about knee height, so ball goes out of play, the clock stops, and similar to football or soccer, the free hit being played from the point where the ball went over the boards for the team that is deemed to then have possession of the ball.
Knee height, make it precise, it's 50 centimeters, so depending on how tall you are, where your knee is, but it's, yeah, the rink is half a meter high. Just as tall as the one-ball trophy that was recently introduced for the adult championships.
Blomqvist takes a tumble and there creates a slight opening for the Germans, unable to capitalize. But it's Germany who are all over the possession at the moment. Canada still holding firm defensively. Looking to spin away onto the forehand and get a shot off, and then eventually very well defended from Gabriella Smith.
Yeah, that was a good stick extension, that crucial stick to prevent the shot. So blocking the shots, I mean, you don't block the player, you should be blocking the blade and the shooting lane.
Good chance, that shot was whiffed on. Connection there, you could have felt like that one would have ended up in the back of the net. And a little bit too rambunctious from Kristen Dorney. You're allowed to apply physical pressure. Physical contact, of course, is allowed, but there is a limit.
Yeah, and not from behind, not on the back. So too much pushing. The back will result in a free hit, but shoulder to shoulder, the contact is more, or is allowed harder.
And of course, for those of you familiar, you may have seen some Sweden-Finland men's games that get very physical indeed.
If a bit of pressure there from Canada.
Klingner comes out of the bench, full steam ahead. Siedenberg skips away from Canadian pressure. Great pass through the Canadian formation. That's another shot that's gone wide, this time from Klingner. Germans knocking on the door at the moment, but unable to find themselves accurately on target.
Yeah, there's definitely room for these plays, and quite nicely they take the shots on one-time shots, which is makes sense because statistically you're more likely to score with a multiplier of 1.4 if you shoot a one-time shot rather than from a stagnant position.
Oh, and that's agonizing stuff for Amy Field in goal. That one bouncing around the goal area like a pinball machine, and eventually just about going over. I'm not sure who got the final touch. You can maybe tell us more, Tero.
Yeah, the ball was bouncing around. Not sure if that hit their own player. At least the first touch was on Kaylee Garrison, and not sure if Hailey Jane Tropchuk did get a touch on that, but that's an awkward ball for a goalie because it's bouncing around, nobody in control, and she was already committed to that initial shot and the save.
So we mentioned the Germans were knocking on the door. They get the breakthrough early on in this first period. It's Canada 0, Germany 1. And the goal has been awarded to Tropchuk. Gottschalkson with the assist. Not sure how intentional that assisted pass was from Gottschalkson, but she will take it.
Yeah, it was off her leg, and she gets the assist for that. That's how the rule goes.
Played up, chased in deep. Blomqvist, nice little touch. And off goes Emily Blomqvist. Cleanly taken with the ball, and that was a great chance for Canada. Last second, a crucial German stick gets in the way, and now the Germans on the counter-attack. But you mentioned that Blomqvist was one to watch. That was a good passage of play from her.
Yeah, and the Germans definitely respected her skill and danger, because we saw from up here the stand a good look that there was 4 players defending her when she was trying to cruise towards the German goal. But good back check work from the Germans as well. They're not focusing only on attack. Very diligently, everybody also running back into their zone to defend.
Now, a lot of these, just for an idea for those of you who are unfamiliar with these teams, a lot of these German players grew up playing floorball as a first sport, while the majority of these Canadian players have not done so. coming from other sports, either traditionally maybe field hockey or, as of course is the case in Canada, ice hockey.
Yeah, I just took have to tilt my head slightly to the left, and I see some Canadians with the Sidney Crosby shirts there. Some room for Germany here, lots of room in the middle for Merle Grimpen.
And that's a lifting of the stick called against Kristen Dorney. No penalty, just a foul, so a free hit.
She was using her body well, but the stick was the problem in this instance.
Siedenberg, great find, patient work from Michelle Siedenberg, who lays it on a plate beautifully. One of the easiest finishes I think she'll ever have. If we can just confirm who that was, Tero.
It was Tropschuk in front of the goal. But this is great patience from Siedenberg, the quality of the player. She has a very tight angle. She doesn't try to shoot because it's a very acute angle, and finds Tropschuk in front of the goal. And like you said, the easiest goal she'd ever score, tapping into the open goal.
Easy finish, but we have to commend the positioning, of course, from Haley Jane Tropschuk to even drift into that danger zone in front of the net.
So maybe Germany relaxes a bit more here, so they finally were able to score and start scoring more. Let's see.
Well, of course, with their draw against Japan yesterday, goals are going to be key for the Germans if they want to try and beat Japan in the standings. Goal difference will, of course, come into play if they end up level on points, having drawn against each other.
It was just a glimmer of a chance for Michaela Adams there to maybe break through. The Germans mishandled the ball. But on the previous attack there, it was a couple of times when Siedenberg almost connected again with Tropschuk, so we might be seeing a lot of that.
It's another chance at a Canadian stick. It looked like had deflected that one away from danger, only momentarily.
It's nice to see the Canadians defending. Their heads are spinning all the time. They're trying to locate the players that they're defending, but the Germans are doing a good job of moving all the time, so they're having a tough time of finding their players who to mark.
Oh, and that's a wonderful chance. That one sent over. Calls for a free hit for the Germans, who felt like there was a touch off a Canadian. And that does go for Canada.
And Ronja Trieb looked skywards in disgust when she had such a glorious place to score.
And of course, the one benefit that the Germans have over the Canadians, well, we'll get to that in a minute. You can't give the ball away in your zone. It's another goal. We're only 11 minutes 30 into the action, and it's Canada 0, Germany 3.
Yeah, Emily Blomqvist was trying to stick handle away her way past the forechecking German player, but it slipped off her blade. I believe there was a touch when Romy Gottschalksson just touched the ball, and it landed straight onto the blade of Ronja Trieb. And a great finish. I mean, Amy Field was ready, and she pushed herself forward to cut down the angle, but regardless, Trieb found the net.
And that's a second assist for Romy Gottschalksson. That one a little bit more intentional with the sweeping stick, at least, than the first one. Play falls nicely for the Canadians at the back post, and waiting there and unable to direct it in. Britt Dorney so close.
Yeah, that was close. Good one.
For the Canadians to get their opener. Another chance for them. Landher slides out to deny Mary Claire Smiley.
Good spell there. Two good chances for Canada.
slow to apply the pressure in that moment with the Canadians. Field gets them out of trouble only momentarily.
Yeah, Smiley there directing her players because the defensive formation was a little out of place. Smiley was directing Ava Harrison to find her own player. So good communication there.
That one wide of the goal. Garrison will chase it down. Almost for a second the Germans had it in a good position. Now they do again. That's Felina Weber with the opportunity. Here is Weber. And the line change for the Germans. And just to go back earlier on. Sorry, Tara.
No, just go ahead.
We'll get there in a second because the Germans are again applying pressure. And that's a great save from Field. Made herself as wide and as big as possible. Misplaced pass. I was just going to say a little reminder for the earlier call on the foul on the free hit on the halfway line. Stick lifting, of course, allowed in ice hockey, not allowed in floorball. And that's another good save for Field.
It's a little broken play, maybe a chance for Canada. Shot from distance. There might have been even some room to advance with the ball. But what I was about to say, the defensive formation for Canada, the two forechecking players are very wide apart, so that leaves a lot of room for the German players to make a good diagonal outlet pass right into the danger zone.
Which is what they want to do right now. Slightly overrun. They pick back up again. That was Ronja Trieb. Slight tumble for Julia Britton, but she's back on her feet.
Germany working the ball. Ronja Trieb tries to score another one.
Unfortunately for her, that was the goal, the practice warm-up goal on the side.
Yeah, okay, outside the ring, yeah.
Three-player press for the Germans, and that's another stick lift. You can see those ice hockey tendencies coming in.
It probably just comes instinctively if you've played a lot of hockey, so.
And of course there's that difference between taking steps and firing a shot with the wrist that you're not used to if you play ice hockey, where you glide, of course, into the shot and let the skates do the work.
Blomqvist trying to find Smiley, but over the rink, so Germany goes back to work. Some more forechecking from Canada. Now they got three players caught deep in the offensive zone, and this is the end result.
Felina Weber with a strike of her own. And she's a popular character in this German team. Everyone on their feet from the Germans to celebrate with Weber. It's another goal for Germany. It's Canada 0, Germany 4.
Yeah, we see three Canadian players caught quite deep. And then again, also the defenders caught deep in their own zone. So there's all kinds of room for the Germans to create this play. So if you start forechecking your own teammates, you need to be sure that the defenders also push forward, so keeping that tight formation.
Another chance that tight distance from the Canadians right now. Need to apply a little bit closer pressure. But that's a great takeaway. Still not fully away, and Siedenberg is stopped by Field.
I haven't seen yet that Amy Field would use her throw. I don't know how skilled she is in throwing long balls. But from a coach point of view, I would use that more because they need to spend a lot of time in their defensive zone. And once she makes a save, well, that was a decent throw. But once she makes a save, which she makes a lot, the player who is deepest in or closest to the German goal should instantly spurt towards the goal and try to create those breakaways.
Leave your speediest player up front just for those opportunities. There's a good opportunity meanwhile for Svenja Klingner. Canada, of course, still searching for their first goal of the tournament, having been shut out yesterday by the Italians.
And what a celebration that would be.
And it is tough for this Canadian team, unlike Germany, who had a qualification at home in Berlin to really gel as a squad, to go over tactics, go over formations, passages of play, how to work the ball around through that whole week and training camps. This Canada side not having to go through qualifications. There is no USA Women Under-19 squad, so Canada automatically qualifying as the sole representative from the Americas region. And also a lot of them being spread out, several in Nova Scotia, but then several in Ontario, in Ottawa. And that is not a short journey from Nova Scotia to Ottawa.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, for this age group, there's very little chances to play international matches altogether. So it's a rare treat to play an international match at this age.
Trying to get the 1-2 going with the Germans. It's cut out again by the Canadians. Good heads-up play from them.
Oh, the Canadians were
And
caught
here
on the
comes
change.
a chance for a slight breakaway. And just the ball behind her a bit too much, Christian Dorney, but the signs are there, Tero.
Yeah, the German player got caught a little by surprise that actually there was a lot of room for Germany because Canada was in the middle of a change. But Christian Dorney came out of the substitution zone behind the German player, so got a little surprise when she almost was on a breakaway.
And there she is again, creating a opportunity for sister Britt Dorney. That's a good block from Paige Necklier that falls nicely to the hands of Amy Field.
There's some room. This is good.
Dorney chips it through, has a chance, and that's a near post. That one's almost sneaking in.
That was a quality chance for Canada, definitely.
And another opportunity, this time for Britt Dorney. That one high and wide.
But yeah, that was the first real scoring chance for Canada. Well, second to be honest. But it really would be delightful to see Canada score, just to give them the joy of scoring a goal finally. I'm sure the German fans would disagree with that one.
40 seconds to go here in this first period. Klingner, there's a hit on stick.
And Edo Sabanovic there quite verbal, saying no more.
Advantage call for the Germans, trying to play it to a...
Oh, and here's a penalty. There was clearly, she was holding the stick when the German player, I didn't see the number, she was trying to shoot. And she was pushing the sticks down. You can see it quite clearly here. Not on that occasion, but here it was Linda Schanz who was trying to shoot, and the Canadian player was pushing her stick down. So a late power play with just 24 seconds remaining in the first period.
Same as ice hockey, power plays, penalty kills. Penalty kills referred to as box plays in floorball, more commonly, although I'm trying to bring back the term penalty kill by myself.
I think it's fair to use any of those terms. Power play, short-handed play for the 4 players, obviously. And we saw some interesting events here in the earlier match when the Danish squad was Esther Thompson scored twice short-handed today against Switzerland. So that's quite unusual.
So just a little confusion at the end there. The end of the period horn not sounding, so the referee's having to manually blow the whistle to end the first period, but that was a good save right at the very end from Amy Field. So after the first 20 minutes of play, it's Canada 0, Germany 4. Your thoughts, Stella?
Well, Canada is gallantly defending, and I'm happy to see that they got a few chances. But as was expected, Germany quite dominant with just the skill they have. So let's see how long Canada can push against the German wave.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly for the second period here in Lahti.
Goalkeeper saves after the first period to Canada 12, Team Germany 2.
Welcome back for the second period of action here in Latisana. For this Group C contest between Canada and Germany. You'll be far happier if you're a German fan, that's for sure, than a Canadian. 16 shots for the Germans compared to only 2 for the Canadians in that first period. 12 saves for young Amy Field in goal. And some work to do for Team Canada to not just get back in this contest, but to get on the score sheet as well for the first time. Some final words from head coach of Team Canada, Fredrik Bagge, with the Swedish referees. Fredrik himself being Swedish, so I presume that conversation was in Swedish.
Most likely.
And straight away, remember, starting this period on the power play are the Germans after that earlier infraction at the end of the first period. It says for repeated offences on the match secretary.
Yeah, agonizing start for the period for Kristen Donny.
And that's a slam dunk of a shot. Michelle Siedenberg gets her name on the score sheet with a beautifully positioned and well-struck finish. It's Canada 0, Germany 5.
Yeah, Svenja Klinger just takes the ball, moves behind the goal, and 2 Canadian players defending her, leaving Siedenberg completely unmarked. But a clean finish from her. And once again, a one-timer, always a better chance to score. So Amy Field was sliding over when she realized that Klinger was not going all the way behind the goal with the ball, but then passed it against the grain. So that's very difficult for a goalie to read. You have to look behind you and see what's happening. Of course, leaves some time to do things behind your back which you don't like.
And certainly some work for Fredrik Bagge and their Canadian coaching staff to work on. The coaching staff themselves comprised of several previous or current national team players as well. Sonia Hodke and Riley Borghese, for example. Sonia, former women's national team player for many years for Canada, and Riley Borghese, current women's national team captain for Canada. She had the honor of leading out her nation and her team at the World Games 2025 and was part of that incredible the World Games opening ceremony in Chengdu as well.
And Klinger was forgotten, completely unmarked there in front of the goal.
While we're on the topic of the World Games, Stella, 2029 will be heading to Karlsruhe in Germany. So we may see some of these women's under-19 players for Germany competing in 3 years' time if they make the jump up to the women's senior team.
Correct. And here's the next goal. And a reverse rolls on this goal. Siedenberg and Klinger. Well, that's a good shout out regarding the World Games in 29 when we first see the replay of this goal. And once again, Siedenberg, great patience not to try to shoot from a difficult position, being guarded by Paige Necklia, but rather finding the free blade of Klinger. And she finishes on the same short side there. Already on 2 occasions we've seen that patience from Siedenberg, so she really sees the whole the field. She has a great vision of the play. So segueing back to what we were discussing earlier, so she has a high probability of making that squad if everything goes well, as she's already been part of the women's adult squad until now. So good chances, and especially as it takes place in Karlsruhe, Germany, and automatically the host country gets free tickets, so to speak, or they are allowed to participate as the host nation without any qualifications. Ooh, ill-advised touch there. I've seen penalties given out for those, even though it's just unintentional, but sometimes some referees call that a high stick.
Those 2 goals for Germany from Klinger and Siedenberg coming in the exact same fashion, in the exact same position. One-timers from the left side. Perhaps a weakness that they've spotted in the Canadian formations. A big clash of bodies, but play continues and will take advantage of that. A brief fall from Anna Britton creates an opening, and the long-range shot fired in before Britain can come across and take cover and try and block the shot. It's another goal for Germany. Canada 0, Germany 7.
It's hard really to see the players' numbers with that golden on the white shirts.
That's the mark of a great player, is the ability to take the opportunities when they suddenly arise, sensing an opening with that fall from Britain, and it makes a wonderful finish down low. Sweeper shot from Svenja Klinger. I thought it was Klinger, but then I didn't spot the captain's armband, so yeah, she must have not had it on for that shift.
Maybe.
Pushed away from danger by the Canadians, and it's Blomqvist trying to start the counter. It's Gabrielle Smith who initially had the good clearance, but here comes Germany again, and that shot right down the middle by Felina Weber.
So 2 very quick goals from Klinger. Oh, and that's given away directly on the blade of Mila Strongman. Strong defense work from Emily Blomqvist. Oh, and how did they find the blade of Merle Grimpen between 2 Canadian players?
And that was Ruby Borghese who had to come across and sweep away danger. I should say Ruby, sister of Coach Riley on the Canada team bench, and as we mentioned, Riley, the current captain of the Canadian women's national team. Here comes Germany again forward. Nice driving shot. That one whiskers wide of the near post. And now Canada end up with the ball, trying to chip it forward. That was Britt Dorney looking for sister Kristen.
Beck reads the play well. The Canadian player takes a change, creates a lot of room. Like we said, Wiedenberg reads the play really well. You say have good players, then they sense where the play is going. That's that. If you talk about a legend ice hockey, Wayne Gretzky, and they were all saying that he knows where the game is going already before it's there. So that's a hard thing to teach. So that's what players learn instinctively, or they don't.
And no one electing from this Canada team to wear the famous 99 of Gretzky.
Close with Britt Dorney, 98. Yeah, that's a big number to live up to.
Nice work from the Canadians to get forward, and now drawing the foul. That was the initial work from Ava Harrison.
First line in for Canada for this one.
Blomqvist trying a shot from her own half. And unable to be found through, and almost an opportunity for Alina van Klippersluis, who we haven't said much of, and is getting her first real taste of action.
Incorrect push from Blomqvist, so a very good spot for a free hit for Germany here. Now the Canadian players should already be getting ready and position themselves. And there's 5 against 5, so each of the players should find their own player to mark.
So two-person wall for the Canadians, and that's a great block from Blomqvist. As the most experienced player on the squad, that's good work from Blomqvist to immediately put herself in the wall.
Yep. And then the Canadians were pushing with 2 players, good idea, but then they just left the courtesy of 2 meters of just looking at the field and finding a free passing lane. So they should just push and really go close to the body and eat up all the room around the player. So that's something that they still need to work on.
Nice 1-2 for the Germans. That was combination play from Felina Weber with Mila Strungman.
Paige Neclia trying to outmaneuver Nele Grimpen. Loses the ball during that action. And all of a sudden they're back to defending.
Work from the Germans as they start to increase the pace of the passes. First line out there for Germany. Kick save from field.
Good footwork from Olivia Smith, who's also now being inserted. We haven't seen much of her late in the first half of the match. And again,
stick away, and that's a delay penalty against the Germans. So Field can go off for an extra player, but
yeah, she's looking at the substitution bench, but the coaching staff weren't pulling her out off the field. So interesting situation.
Again, a little bit of that floorball inexperience showing. As of course, similar to ice hockey, you are allowed to pull your goalie out on a delayed call for an extra player.
Yeah, the artificial power play with the 6 against 5, and just maybe to further explain the rules. So as soon as the ball is lost and the opposing team touches the ball or clearly doesn't get control of the ball, then the play is whistle dead. So it's safe to play the 6 against 5 without any risks.
So no better chance for Canada to get their first goal of these Women's Under-19 World Championships than right now on the advantage. Pressure being screamed from the Canadian bench and the coaching staff to the players.
Nice shoulder tackle from Brittoni. Or rather not tackle, but contact.
And Germany doing well to waste as much time off the clock on this penalty kill. As Canada are just chasing the ball right now, unable to get control. Cut out by Blomqvist and eventually falling back into the stick of Christian Dorni.
Raukslo applying pressure, but that was well played by Christian Dorni. He was aware of Aurelia Raukslo approaching and turned the other way and sent her the wrong way.
So 40 seconds to go on the power play. One player advantage for the Canadians. Long range shot, that one just wide. A little bit too rambunctious from Britt Dorni with the sweeper of a stick move.
Finish you call the sickle move.
Siedenberg trying to escape, gets the advantage called. No foul against the Canadians on that contact along the rink boards.
Clever play again from Siedenloh, playing it back, playing off the seconds of the penalty, safely in ball control rather than pushing towards the goal with a player down.
Back to full strength of the Germans, and they've not only killed off the penalty, but they've severely tired this top Canadian line, making them chase after the ball for a large part of that penalty kill.
Smiley is still on the field, and now she's heading for the substitution.
Ball falls nicely. 2-on-2 opportunity for the Canadians. Trying to get it onto the forehand was Anna Britton.
Good back-checking work from Ronja Triep.
At the back post, unable to redirect it in, but still with possession of the ball. Raukslo.
Funny to see Anna Britton was defending her, was defending Romy Gottschalksson, but then she just suddenly pulled on the brakes and let her run.
And all by herself with almost no support was Michaela Adams, but doing really well to find a Canadian red shirt, and that was a speculative effort from range by Van Klippersluis. Gone over halfway in this match. Germany with a 7-goal lead. Canada looking for their first goal. Here's Blomqvist. Fans on the shot, falls back nicely for the Canadians. Gabrielle Smith sends it in. Ice hockey style, dump and chase.
Dump and chase, yeah. Not necessarily intentional there, because Blomqvist was already heading back towards her own zone.
Works out for the Canadians. Free hit for them on the pressure that forced a German turnover. Nice accurate find. Pass through the red shirts by the Germans.
And you saw when Mila Strungman was heading for the ball, she peeked over her right shoulder and saw her teammate in front of the goal trying to play it there. Also something that any of you juniors should take advice from. So when you're heading for a loose ball in the corner or wherever, take a peek over your shoulders and weigh out your choices before you reach the ball. You already have a plan what you're going to do with the ball.
Cleared away by Gabrielle Smith. As Van Klippersluis was trying to get on the end of the loose ball. Second to it. As the Germans come forward again. Blomqvist, nice pass along the rink boards. Looking for Christian Dorni. Three German players around Christian Dorni. She does so well to find a Canadian teammate, but picked up in the end by Felina Weber.
Yeah, Paige Neklia never really got a good shot away. But that situation created well by Kristen Doni, because she drew 2 players on her, so created room for her teammates.
Necklaire having to back chase and doing just enough to apply the pressure and put off Tropschuk from getting another goal.
They are working hard, but the Germans just seem to be quicker. Once again, Siedenberg almost finds a teammate in front of the goal. It's a Tropschuk again.
Indeed, Necklaire applying the pressure on Seidenberg. Oh my word, that's a beautiful solo goal from Michelle Seidenberg. She managed to escape the pressure in the corner, dance her way into the center of the field and deposited the ball into the back of the net with aplomb. It's Canada 0, Germany 8.
Just admire this power move, I would say, from Siedenberg. And nothing away from Paige Necklaire. She was working hard on the defense, really pushing, but Siedenberg is just so quick.
Goal number 8 for Team Germany. Scored by number 91, Michelle Siedenberg. Assisted by number 37, Svenja Klingman.
So Klinger with another point with the assist on that wonderful solo effort from Siedenberg. Germany are pressing forward again as they look for another to add to their tally. Remember, they really do need as many goals as possible after that draw against Japan. And we talk about how some of these Canadian players have come from other sports, ice hockey, field hockey. Paige Necklaire, or Peggy as she's known in the squad. I'll give you one guess at what sport Paige Necklaire does as her main sport.
Frisbee golf.
No, it's biathlon.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's a very interesting, different mix to be a biathlete.
Good conditioning from the cross-country scene, definitely.
Of course.
And then the accuracy from shooting. For shooting goals.
Different kind of shooting?
Yeah. But I was just mentioned the goal difference and the game against Japan, and earlier at the intermission we looked at the match that Italy is playing against Japan. Italy had built up a comfortable 4-goal lead, and all of a sudden the Japanese have come alive. The game is now 3-4. So just an exclamation point on how important, or exclamation mark on how important this win, a big win, would be for the Germans.
Nice save from field, and eventually finding the loose ball was Ruby Borghese. And a nice easy catch for Field. Amy Field, part of a floorball family now. Brother Alex was part of the under-19 squad, men's, and now part of the senior men's team. That
great outlet pass, sorry to interrupt you. That was really good play. A nice support from Gabrielle Smith to come out of that pressure, and that really is a hit on the stick there. Sorry to interrupt.
No, all good. And that was Julia Britton as well, with a nice defensive effort as she reads the play really well and cuts things down, stopping a potential German goal. Bit of physical contact there, and calls for a play with the arm from the Germans, but that was a shoulder play, so play continues.
Good strong work from Doni.
It was a great pass into the center of the field, in that danger zone, as they say, right in front of the goalie, but no Canadian shirt could redirect that one in.
The German pressure comes instantly, so it's creating that feel of urgency, so maybe forcing you to a bad pass as well.
Siedenberg with a burst of pace, breaking through. Now here's Klingner.
Oh, yeah, she was trying to find Haley Jane Tropschuk again in front of the goal.
Siedenberg, that one's well blocked by Blomqvist and picked up by Britt Dorney. Again, doing really well. Now with her first action of the game, Lea Kovar, who's come in for the Germans, having been on the team bench for the first period. Here come the Canadians. Oh, Klinger with an intelligent play off the rink boards and loads of space to shoot.
Something happens there on Tropschuk. She limps off to take a change.
So she will be seen to, Haley Jane Tropschuk, by the German physio team. Doesn't look too serious though. And just over a minute remaining in this second period. Germany with the 4-goal lead after 20 and now an 8-goal lead after 19 minutes. And they're looking to add one more before the end of this period at least.
Oh, wow. I think she was trying to use the rink there and Olivia Smith to pass it behind the goal, but the angle was so acute that it came right in front of the goal, luckily to her teammate.
And Canada, for a brief moment, thought they had an opportunity to hit on the counter-attack. Play called back by our referees. German free hit. Rauxlow, nice turn. And that's a good block, but the rebound unable to be cleared. The initial block from Julia Britton was great, but there was no secondary block, and the Germans have indeed added another. It's Canada 0, Germany 9.
A one-handed shot, I believe. It's Romy Siv-Krankel, who hasn't played that much yet, but now when she gets a touch on the ball, one-handed backhand shot, and it just creeps over the leg of Amy Field. Now they're just shy of 2 digits, Germans.
Oh, and that's a brilliant chance again, driving into space. Franziska Kalveit, another one who's coming on for the first time in this game, and her shot straight off the crossbar. Oh, and that was a touch by Field. That would have gone in if it wasn't for the fingertips of Amy Field. If she picked one size smaller in gloves, that might have gone in.
That's true. Or if she cut her fingernails yesterday.
And of course, there's been a lot of conversation and topics on goalie equipment and gloves in recent weeks with the new bat gloves.
Yeah, the bat grip, but being deemed as illegal equipment.
Pia Landherd scaring me in yesterday's game, as with her pink gloves I thought she was wearing the bat gloves, but not to be mistaken, of course. Last seconds for the Canadians. That one's in, but the time has gone. It won't count. That's so frustrating. Gabrielle Smith thought she had scored.
That was clearly already full time, unfortunately, but they are celebrating nonetheless. They'll take the positive feeling from it. And the Canadian fans, yeah, they're celebrating.
Oh, and a wry smile on the face of Gabrielle Smith, who time had gone there at the moment where she releases the shot at the end of the period.
But it actually ricocheted off her own player there. She's trying to defend it. But anyway,
and you
it
can
doesn't
see,
count. Yeah.
You could see in the background, sorry Daryl, just the 20 being indicated for the end of the second period. My word, that's such a frustrating end for the Canadians, who thought they finally got on the score sheet, but it wasn't to be. After 40 minutes, Germany extend their lead. It's Canada 0, Germany 9. We'll be back very shortly for the third and final period of action here in Lahti.